The Cycle is an early access PvE and PvP first-person shooter game developed and published by Jaeger Development. This game also falls under the Battle Royale genre and features solo, duo, 4-man and ranked game modes. Now, I'm personally not a big fan of Battle Royale games, but after my brother introduced me to this game, I've come to like it quite a bit, and so I thought it would be a good idea to create a video review on it, as I truly think this game is something else. So when you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is one of those games that just went under my radar and it has been out for quite some time. The earliest playtest was back in February of 2019. That's a long time ago. This game is over a year old in early access. Now, I was pleasantly surprised when playing this game that there weren't too many bugs. It's not like an early access game that's a year out where you can still fall through the floor. Most of it feels pretty solid. Now, the Cycle flew under my radar, but I'm making this video so it doesn't fly under yours if you've never heard of it, because this game is truly an early access gem. So let's go ahead and get into the good stuff first. Okay, so this is a Battle Royale type of game, but it doesn't really feel like a Battle Royale because you have so many PvE elements in the game. Usually in a Battle Royale match, you win the match by killing every other player and being the last to survive. In the Cycle, that is not necessarily the case. In fact, it really isn't. To win in the Cycle, you must survive until the end and have the highest score of all players. The way you get the most amount of points is by doing PvE related contracts in a match. These can range from you hunting creatures and picking up their biomass, to powering facilities, to sitting on a train or drilling station, keeping a Zeal shard with you that gives away your location, picking up mushrooms, helping a drone launch, a big boss NPC called the Alpha Warden, and so on. There's quite a lot of different contracts, making the games feel very unique, especially if you take a different route. Now, these contracts and killing creatures also earn you money in game, which can get you access to abilities and better guns you have to buy, fly in, pick up, and then you'll be able to use them. That's actually a really cool system, and I've started to like it even though I disliked it at first, simply because a player could attack you while you're picking something up, but at least it's pretty quick. Now, the player versus monster scenarios in this game remind me a lot of Borderlands, especially if you are drilling for those minerals on those purple crystals, because they come out of the ground just like in Borderlands 1 and attack you, and it simply just gives off that Borderlands vibe. Now, you collect these points, but how do you actually win or end the match? Well, a match takes 20 minutes, and at the end of the match, you start dying slowly whenever you're not in the evacuation ship. So unlike other BR games like Warzone, it isn't a mist layer that closes in on you and gives you time, you simply just start dying. So when the timer hits 0, you want to be near or inside the evacuation ship. And with the most points, of course, if you want to win the match. Now, you can see the map gradually change over time, especially around the 7 to 5 minute mark as the game gets stormier and stormier. Because the Cycle, the game's name, is a massive storm. Now, the Cycle has one smaller and one larger map, and that's already more than most Battle Royale games have, and this game is in early access. So there's a decent amount of replayability. I've personally clocked around 8 hours in this game so far, so not too much, but I can see myself getting 50 plus hours in this game because it's extremely fun and each game is different. Now, if you win or lose a match, you get a certain amount of crypto marks. This is the currency of the Cycle. You can use these marks to upgrade your gear, weapons, and abilities, or get new weapons inside a certain class. There used to be a crafting system with crafting materials gained from a match, but they've replaced that with crypto marks. Now, there's a big issue with these crypto marks, as winning the game takes much longer, but you don't really get that many more crypto marks. If you're last place and simply die at the start of the game and keep doing that in each and every game, you will get more crypto marks per hour than someone constantly winning games. That's not necessarily a good thing. But I guess it also balances out that if you do lose games constantly, you're at least somewhat rewarded and you're not left in the dust, because you do earn these crypto marks at quite a slow rate. You have to be very specific about what you buy and what you upgrade unless you're playing a lot of hours every day. Now, I mentioned class earlier, but it's more known as a faction, because you unlock certain guns by having crypto marks to buy them with and a certain level inside a faction. You have 3 different factions in the Cycle. You have Korolev, Osiris, and the ICA. Now, before you choose a faction, you can simply go to the shooting range and test out all the weapons in the game and see which ones you like. If you like precision weapons, you go for something like Osiris, and if you like big damage weapons, grenade launchers, etc., you can go for Korolev. And that's great. More games should have a shooting range where you can simply test all the weapons in the game to see what you like before actually unlocking them and being disappointed, or getting lucky and being happy that you spent your crypto marks the right way. Because like I said, they take some time to obtain. Now you can use these crypto marks to upgrade your suit and weapons, and these do give you a significant advantage. Some mods more than others, but some are really powerful, like the rapid fire and rapid reload for the base pistol. These upgrades have given me a significant advantage over other players early game that do not have this upgrade, because I just shoot so much faster and I can dish out so much more damage in a shorter period of time. Now, of course, for a game in this genre, there will be cosmetics, and there, of course, are weapon skins, lifebot skins, banners, emotes, vehicle skins, and so on. Now, as of right now in early access, there are no buyable advantages over other players with microtransactions, meaning everything is purely cosmetic, and that's a big plus. All season pass rewards and all packs that you can buy in the game are purely cosmetic. And I think that's definitely something worth noting, because lots of other games, especially free-to-play games, have buyable advantages over other players using your IRL money. As for the bad, the game doesn't have that many downsides apart from some random frame drops, which is normal I guess for an early access game. Thankfully my rig is very powerful, so I don't necessarily notice it as much, but I can see it being an issue on lower end systems. Now this game doesn't have such a large player count. The maximum amount of players inside a match is 20. If you're doing solos, that's 20 teams. If you're doing duos, that's 10. If you're doing quads, aka squad gameplay, it's 5 teams of 4. And that's not that many. And it does make sense because the maps aren't massive, and if there are more teams on the map, the amount of PvE resources would be way too little. Though having a solo game mode with more than 20 players would be fun because it would be absolute chaos. People fighting over resources to get better guns would be pretty funny. Now with the current cap of players, if you aren't focusing on killing people, you won't encounter people too often unless you're doing some contract that revolves around sitting around a train where you will attract other people, or you're carrying a Zeal shard. That changes towards the end of the match though, when resources are more scarce and people are running around the map trying to find more to get more points. I actually ended up reaching out to the developers on Twitter, who were very responsive by the way to my questions, to ask if they had any plans for a game mode with more than 20 players. And they said that the game currently wouldn't be balanced around it, so no. Now another issue I have with solos specifically in this game is that you can randomly pact up with players, and it's a way to give yourself an advantage over others. Now if you end up teaming up with another player, you do end up losing half of your health, being your shield, as that is then non-existent, but you do have double the firepower, which is, you know, it's solos. Why would you be able to pact up with other players and like have a duo? It doesn't really make that much sense to me. No other Battle Royale game does this, I believe. Again, I'm not that experienced with Battle Royales, but it doesn't make sense to have that in solos. It should just purely be solos. I've had situations where I attack another player and they see another player and they ask them to pact up, and then they both start attacking me and end up killing me because of their double damage advantage. I don't know. I don't really like it. Now another thing I dislike in this game is the death system. If you die, you will drop your emergency recall charge, which is your second life, and you can re-pick it up as long as no one is in the area and attacking you. Meaning if you end up killing a player, they're not definitively dead, they can come back, harass you, annoy you, and distract you from your contracts. Then you kill them again, and they've already picked up their emergency recall, and the cycle just continues. And I'm not talking about the cycle about the storm, but the cycle of them just coming back at you every time to annoy you with their pistol, and they just don't die. Unless you stay there and camp there until they come back and finish them off completely by keeping them from picking up their emergency recall, but then you lose the match because you cannot get enough points. I much prefer the Gulag from Warzone, giving you a chance to fight off against another player who has died to get a chance to get back into the game. Or having your teammates be able to buy you back with a lot of money, but that might shift the balance between winning or not, because you could simply buy someone back in at the end of the game with a lot of money, have them jump into the evacuation ship, and then you'll get more points as a team. And the only other downside is that it's on the Epic Game Store and not on Steam, but I think there are reasons the developers chose for the Epic Game Store. This is a free-to-play game, it's early access, there's no reason not to try it if you're somewhat interested, so if you are interested, I would suggest you go ahead and try this game out, especially if you have some friends that might be interested as well, because this game is so much more fun when you're doing it with a full squad. With that being said though, we have come to the end of this review. If you enjoyed this review and found it interesting, please leave a like down below. If you have any feedback for me for future reviews, please leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.